Hello, and welcome to the Shades of Chiron podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Hope, an ordained reverend, tarot reader, and astrologer. Using contemporary examples and mythological symbolism, we will explore the painful wounds that we experience as individuals and as a society. Today, I want to talk to you about an observation I made about the current state of relationships between men and women. It starts with a bit of a story. So, I had a client call me with an issue regarding his sex life. He recently started seeing this girl, and things have been going well for them, according to him. He told me that they have sex regularly, but he was still not entirely satisfied because she wouldn't have oral sex with him. When he brought this topic up to her, she told him that she had a bad experience with it, and she didn't want to do that. As a tarot reader, I've had people ask me questions about the future all the time. But never have I been asked if there would be hope to get a blowjob in the future. Oh yes, I see. Indeed, the cards predict that you will get a blowjob in the future. I hope he didn't hear me facepalm. I didn't tell him this, but I did try to pick his brain a little bit to see if he really cared about this girl and their relationship. I explained to him that holding on to this fantasy and focusing solely on what makes you feel pleasure will certainly destroy the relationship, and that if he cared about her, he should be challenging, or he should consider challenging his own desires. If I remember the reading correctly, I had pulled the Eight of Cups, the Tower, and the Page of Swords, which you can basically summarize by saying, abandon this idea, it's going to lead to destruction and potentially the damaging of the youthfulness of the relationship. So there's more to it than that, but that was the first impression that I got from it, and I was just, I couldn't facepalm hard enough. So, unfortunately, I think that my message fell on deaf ears, and it's honestly disappointing because I know that this example plays out over many relationships. There are many men who I've noticed set their partners up for failure because they have some sort of exacting standards. The problem with that is many women will acquiesce because they don't want to lose the relationship. They know how difficult it would be to find someone who doesn't have sexual kinks and deviant demands. For whatever reason, men will not have a relationship by any other standards than their own. You don't want to have sex with me whenever I want? You're a cold-hearted bitch. You don't want me always making sexual advances toward you? Why? I'm just trying to be affectionate. If you don't do X, Y, or Z, or in the way that I want you to do X, Y, or Z, I will punish you for it. I can't tell you how many women I've done readings for that come to me with these pre-written scripts that describe their man's behavior. It's so predictable. This is all anecdotal examples, but trust me, I'm not the only one seeing this. There are other men out there exposing this kind of rotten behavior, like the Robbie Harvey and the Speech Prof, which are two accounts that I found on Facebook. One man treating a woman badly or disrespecting his partner/spouse is bad enough. But I am seeing thousands of examples of these men in relationships. The men who supposedly love their partners with all their heart mistreat, neglect, and abuse their women with little to no remorse or understanding. I just remembered an example. There are all these quote-unquote prank videos out there of men covering their women with condiments or messing with their cars or dumping buckets of water on them. This one video I remember, this guy had a dummy, and he went up on his roof and he threw the dummy down and started screaming to make her think that he had fallen off the roof. And when she ran outside, he dumped a bucket of water on her. How horrible do you have to be to put your wife or your partner through something like that, making her think that you're badly hurt or worse, and then dousing her with a bucket of water and then laughing at her. She's not laughing. She's pissed. I I don't understand how men find that funny. It's not. It's seriously violent and abusive. So, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what the hell's going on with men. I've had hours of conversation with my wife, who shows me these videos and explains to me how treacherous it is to be a woman, even if you're in a relationship. I can't pretend that I wasn't a gross man who was led around by his ego and sex drive. I was. I had to reprogram myself to have the level of awareness needed to have a genuine relationship. I understand what it's like to have ego needs that desperately want to be fulfilled. And I also know what it's like to use manipulation to get what I want. However, I decided to make a different choice. I decided that I wanted to have a nurturing and fulfilling relationship that allows love to flow freely. I don't want to worry about when I'll have sex again or when I'll be physical with my wife. I didn't want to keep harming my relationship and projecting my anger onto my wife. And I don't understand why this isn't the normal train of thought for men anymore. Men who let their dick run their relationships miss out on every opportunity to experience what it's like to have a deep friendship and unbreakable bond. If a man simply uses his relationship as a means for quote-unquote available sex, then he is distorting reality, abusing his partner, and forgoing any possibility of true intimacy. You men out there might not care about intimacy or having a soul bond, but you really should. The alternative is the perpetuation of a narcissistic, psychopathic pathology that diminishes the relationships between men and women and separates them from their divine masculine. It's a big deal. I asked my client what would happen if his girlfriend decided that she couldn't follow through with his request. He hesitated and made some weird breathing noises that reminded me of someone who's shocked, confused, and incredulous. He told me, eventually, that he would have to cross that bridge when he got to it. And all I could think to myself was, wow. If he truly cared about her, this would not be an issue. And that's not a matter of opinion. If he truly loved her, the conversation would have ended with her saying that she's uncomfortable doing that, and him saying, okay. No, he couldn't put his ego totally aside and try to have a relationship with someone based on who she is instead of what he expects her to be. Again, I totally get it. I totally understand that you want to have your drives fulfilled. So does the toddler who wants cookies before dinner. It's time to grow the fuck up. I'm saying this to myself too. For all the stupid arguments and mood swings and selfish defensive behavior I've exhibited, I take full blame because I let my ego run the show. Realizing that all that bullshit could have easily been avoided makes me want to slap myself and wish that I saw things differently sooner. The same should go for you, men. We are the only ones preventing ourselves from having decent relationships, and it's because we can't get our own dick out of our mind, heart, or hands. Put down the lotion. I don't have the same thing to say for women. I realize that women have always responded to and reflected other people's experience back at them. The fear of losing a relationship or not being able to find a relationship because of a man's expectations is palpable. I really feel the sorrow, anger, confusion, and disappointment of all the female clients I've had who went through so much terrible shit in their lives because the men they were with couldn't put themselves aside. The questions I get asked most of the time are, When will my client find love or find the right person to be with? As an archetypal tarot reader, I don't usually do predictions, but I do try to help my clients figure out what their relationship needs to look like in order for them to feel safe. Unfortunately, most of the time, finding that right person, it's very difficult, and it is a matter of when, not if, but that when could be a week, a month, a few months, a handful of years, or many years. What's important is that you find the right person. What I will say about women and men together is that if we're going to have decent, proper relationships, we all need to learn how to put our egos aside and view the relationship as a separate living entity. My wife tells me that this is a natural instinct for women, and it makes sense considering women are biologically wired to put themselves aside to care for a baby. But for men, it's a conscious decision that must be continually made. There will be times when the ego slips in, and of course we want to be physically affectionate with our partner, but a mistake is made when the sexual desire is put into every aspect of the relationship, focused on like nothing else matters. How do we as men make sure that we have better relationships? We attend to our emotional lives. We attend to the emotional life of our partner, of our spouse. We make ourselves emotionally available for them. We put aside our own wants, our own desires, our own needs for the sake of something greater than ourselves, that being our relationship. I hope you found today's episode healing. The Shades of Chiron podcast is uploaded weekly. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can be updated on all my new posts. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you're interested in having a reading with me, please send me an email to the one provided in the description. I look forward to meeting you. I'm your host, Reverend Hope, and until we meet again, burn brightly, you divine spark.